Gen X, are we adults yet? Recognizing and unfucking your glitches will be the most adult thing Gen X can ever do.
That's true.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Greg.
That's great.
We are Gen X, and welcome to our podcast.
Bienvenidos
We're the last
podcast.
generation to grow up without internet.
Welcome to your favorite podcast. Shout out to our listeners. Ooh, almost turned that shit off again. Shout out to our listeners and our Monday crew, those first day faithfuls that tune in and catch the newest, crispiest episode each and every Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking us out. Shout out to everybody watching us on this video. We have video to our podcast. Thank you guys. YouTubers. Thank you guys. If you guys are Gen X, go ahead and smash that subscribe button down over there below his leg in the corner. Mouse over it. It comes up. Hit subscribe. Handle it. If you guys are our age, you should already be subscribed. And thank you guys for watching. We've been gaining subscribers. This last couple of videos, we jumped a few. So we want to say thank you to all of those guys.
173.
Who jump in.
Rolling them in.
We're rolling them in. I like it. So,
welcome to the new guys.
appreciate you guys for hitting that subscribe button and dedicating your time with us. We like that shit. We do.
Hanging out back in the day.
Back in the day. Alrighty, for those of you who are new and for those of you who have watched us from the beginning, we are at that point that we always open all of our shows with something positive, something good, something amazing. I don't know, something amazing, I guess.
Something amazing.
The Incredibles. Love that fucking scene. Greg.
Business upgrades, man.
Brother man.
Yep. I bought some equipment.
Tell us.
Put it into service this week.
Yeah? What did you get?
I got a heat press.
Got a heat press?
So I can make shirts and stuff.
Make your own
heat
shirts
press
now?
back in the day used to be kind of janky. It was like those big thick numbers on the back of your jerseys.
Right.
Baseball or
Big,
whatever.
thick ones.
But the stuff that they can do now with heat press is pretty amazing.
Right.
So
We got microchips now.
I found this company, and they do these really nice. They come out a lot. It feels a lot like screen print.
Right.
It lasts for a whole long time. And
It does feel like screen print.
yeah, it's not like a big thick. Like usually it was cut vinyl. Like
Yeah,
we used
exactly.
to make them in a shop I worked at. You'd just cut it out of big thick floppy vinyl and put numbers on jerseys or names. You'd cut a bunch of letters and put kids' names on the back of jerseys. But yeah.
I thought about this little ditty to open our show. We're going to talk about recognizing and unfucking your glitches means we're going to take a deep, long look at ourselves and do something about it. And do something about it. Did I mention and do something about it?
Yeah, it's the doing something about it that is the adult part.
So basically, we're going to sit there and take care of business. A little cheesy, I know, but
This is the song you hear most played live by your local band.
this one right here?
Yeah, at the
This
bar.
is the live bar banger?
Is the live bar banger.
To recognize and unfuck your glitches is a two-part act. To recognize and unfuck and not just walk around with an excuse to be an a-hole.
Well, both of them require a whole different level of focus and attention, I guess. To recognize is a completely different act than the unfucking.
Correct.
So yeah,
Which one do you think is harder?
You gotta first start to be on the lookout.
Which one do you think?
Recognizing is easy.
You think so?
Oh yeah, I mean
Easier?
easier of the two. Yeah, because some of these unfuckers are pretty tough, man.
I get it.
I don't even know how we're going to get through this show with our little tagline and when I'm trying to stop cursing. Because, man, that's one of mine. It's on the list, bro.
Wow. All right.
Stop
All right.
cursing.
Got it. Okay. Very good. Very good. I want you guys to leave us a comment. Which do you think would be more difficult right now? Take a look at yourself. Take a look at those around you. Recognizing or unfucking your glitches. Which one was more difficult? To recognize and see the problem in yourself or to actually address it and make some significant changes in that thought, behavior, or practice or whatever you're talking about, right? I want you guys to leave a comment, and if you haven't already, like we said, go ahead and subscribe. All Gen X folks, anybody our age, anybody from like 45 to 60 should be subscribed.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to all the 60-year-old Gen Xers.
60-year-old Gen Xers.
That's right. You guys are the oldest
We're
ones
hitting
of our...
the next decade.
We are. 60s,
You're the guys
baby.
in the last 16 days. How many do we think we have in 16 days? How many Gen Xers turn 60 every day?
No, like 12.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It should be a lot. Before we can talk about recognizing and unfucking your glitches, first let's talk about some glitches. What are we talking about when we say glitches? We're talking about all the big ones. We're talking about the small ones. We're talking about anything you choose to be for self-improvement. And this is self-improvement. This is for you to look at you and not your partner, your friends, or your family, or your kids, or whoever's close to you, and recognize and unfuck their glitches. This is for self, man. This is time to sit in front of a mirror and dig in and do some work. I am 52 years old, and there is a host of things that I have worked on. I'm still working on, and it's not just like, icing on the cake stuff. This is like legitimate stuff. You know what I mean? I don't have it all figured out, and I know a lot of my friends, look good on the outside, or they have the right things and all in the right places, but still kind of fucking struggle with some shit here and there.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to be the full package, man.
I mean, at this point, this year could be great. Next year could be significantly different.
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago could have been great, and right now is horrible, or whatever the case is. So
don't get to coasting, man. Shit'll go sideways on you really
journey.
fast.
It's a fucking journey. So, and I think when we are in like coast mode is when we haven't recognized anything to unfuck, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just not looking.
I mean, there are some good people out there.
Yeah.
Good people can still look inward and find something to improve on. Right?
Yeah, I think most of those people are the type of if you're that kind of cool. Yeah, then you're also very humble, and you wouldn't be that kind of person about it, anyways.
Correct.
Like, I always have room to improve.
I always do. So first let's talk about some glitches. Let's start with some easy ones, some easy glitches, right? Kind of set the tone and kind of let you know what we're going to talk about here. I have recognized, and this is years ago, I needed a higher education, an education higher than a school diploma, higher than a high school diploma. I got one. I recognized that a high school diploma was no longer going to get me where I needed to be or where I wanted to be.
All right.
I didn't want to go for another warehouse job or
I remember doing that.
a truck driving job, or, I didn't want to, because in my 20s, heavily under the influence and not really thinking about my future, just trying to get work and, had kids and stuff and, all the things. And, I wasn't really kind of mindset for that stuff. Right. Well, it wasn't until I got older and got clean did I realize, hey, I need to do something bigger. Right. So
was it because working outside sucks?
I worked for a good dude. I worked for Chris, and being working for an electrician and working for him and his brother.
That's not easy work, though.
It's good work, bro.
Yeah,
and those are good dudes.
Work.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's a good, honest work. It was honest. It was right. It was by the book. You know what I mean? It was all the right things, right? But it was one day I was underneath the house. It was the wintertime because the mud I was crawling kind of through, next to a vent, was frozen. It was frozen mud, and I'm like. I'm pulling this giant wire. It was big. It wasn't that big. But from the panel underneath the house, all the way across the house to where the new dryer plug was going to be, right? Pulling a new one. So I'm the smallest of everyone. So I'm under there on my back, pulling it. I'm going through the mud, and I'm like, I'm not claustrophobic because I can see all around, but I made sure I didn't get into anywhere I couldn't just fully turn around or
get out of it.
Yeah.
So, no thanks.
So anyways, so I realized I'm like, this isn't my forever job. You know what I mean? This wasn't. So, being an addict and getting clean, I decided, hey, I can go to school and learn to be a counselor. So I did. I went back to school and got my degrees and went to work for those. But, so these glitches don't have to be, these huge, well, it was a huge life change, but it wasn't like the other glitches I've unfucked.
I was just telling the story the other day. I worked in an office. So I worked at Mountain Valley, and so we were installing something, and they said, yeah, well, all right, we'll call out our electrician. And you guys showed up. I was like, hey, what's up, fellas?
I remember that.
I walked outside to meet the electrician to show him what we needed done, and it was you guys.
It was me and Chris, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. I remember that. I remember hanging out that day. I don't remember the job, but I remember hanging out with you on the dock.
I don't remember what we were doing because I did so much stuff there, but
I have no idea about the job that day.
I think it was even more. I think it was more than once. I think you guys did all the different stuff that we had going on there.
Did we do a lot of work out there?
Yeah, it was a few different times. Because we had to upgrade a lot of stuff to make all the stuff I was doing happen. And I think we got hit on some fire code stuff that we had to get fixed.
That's outdated. Upgrade that, right? I recognized I needed to quit smoking and did around April of 2016 after smoking for 30 years.
Yeah.
About 30 years. From about 8th grade till about 2016. I did the math. If my math is wrong, I apologize. But for about 30 years, I'll say about.
I'm 2 days clean right now.
So you recognized you're 2 days clean off of nicotine?
Nicotine. Yeah. So where's the, Nope. There they are.
There it is.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. So
The crowd's going fucking crazy right now, I guarantee you.
I had to, I went from the cigarettes to the vape.
Right.
And then from the vape to the, what did I do? I quit the vape for a while. Then it came back. But then did the pouches for a little while.
Right. And
Quitting the pouches now. The pouches is kind of like the patch.
what's the rule for the pouches?
Is there?
Once you're done, you're not buying more.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I said I had like whatever, bought the little roll of them, five packs of them. I said I'm not.
That's it.
So the vape was, when the vape dies, I'm not buying anymore. I'm either going to run out of all this juice, or because it was kind of glitching. Said if this thing dies, I'm not going to use it anymore.
Yeah.
That happened on Thanksgiving. So I've been on the the pouches since Thanksgiving, and now it's the middle of January.
Okay.
2 days clean. We'll see how it goes.
Got it.
I think I'm good. I've been chewing a lot of gum. Chewed 6 pieces of gum on the way here.
Yeah.
So
Physical withdrawal from nicotine?
no, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I did a full 24-hour complete fast yesterday to help with that. So that was kind of helpful. Just go water only
Yeah.
all day long, chewing gum. Is that still a fast if you chew gum? You're only swallowing your own spit.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's not bubblicious, it's still a fast.
Brand new watermelon. So the glitches get a little bigger, right? Higher education, quit smoking. So that's
a big one, dude.
Those are good.
Smoking was a thing that they tricked us all into in the 80s.
I'm
bro.
so glad I
all
don't
the
smoke
coolest
anymore.
guys on every movie and TV show smoked
Jake
cigarettes.
Ryan didn't smoke.
Yeah, he wasn't our kind of cool though.
He was too old for us.
Yeah, no, he was like Steve Clark cool. We were more like John Bender cool, and John Bender definitely smoked cigarettes.
Oh yeah, he smoked.
So that's why.
He lit it off his shoe.
That's why.
So the glitches get deeper, the glitches get bigger, and I'm going to throw my shit out there. A couple of years ago, at a couple of jobs back, I yelled at somebody at work. I yelled at somebody, so I yelled at a coworker. And
Coworker, not someone that works for you, like a coworker.
it was my coworker, my colleague.
Okay.
We were equals.
All right.
We were
That's
equals,
cool.
right?
That's cooler. That's not as bad.
Well, so
It's not as bad.
it showed a lack of skills. It showed a lack of experience.
For professional, yeah. For professional.
It showed a lack of maturity.
Yeah.
Those are all very important to me and important in the workplace.
Not at the time, though. You thought you were super mature.
I was justified as fuck.
It was justified anger.
I was justified, right?
Yeah.
It was a test and I failed.
Happens all the time.
Okay. So we'll talk about falling down and getting up on another episode. You know what I mean? But this one, I straight fell flat on my face. I goofed a scheduled and a new hire for orientation, like at 9:00 in the morning, at our program, right? And I completely forgot about it. And my coworker, the other person that helped me run the place, they didn't show up till like 10, right? And that was the normal schedule. I'm over in my office, a couple blocks away doing whatever I'm doing. I get a call from them going, "Hey, did you have a new hire here?" I'm like, "Oh, shit." So I book it across town. I meet them. Hey, so I go through everything that I know, but I'm fairly new to that program. And the other person's been there for 12 fucking years. You know what I mean? So they do the orientation. They do the walkthrough in depth, blah, 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 blah. Right. So anywho, I do what I can. I have introduced everybody. I'm kind of just, saying what I can. And they show up finally. They show up a little early. I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm saved, right? In fairness, the person walks in unknowing, hadn't even put their stuff down yet, right? I'm like, hey, so this is so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Hey, can you finish this orientation? I do have to run. I have something else, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it was.
Is that normal for orientation like that to be passed from one person to the other?
Well, I goofed the timing. I should have had him come in like at 10:30 or something like that. when that person's here and had time to get in and settle in.
Both of you?
It's typically that person.
Oh, okay.
It's typically that person. But they don't start till 10.
Okay.
And I don't want to.
All right.
Right.
So you scheduled it earlier than they were.
Yeah, I goofed it. Right, I goofed it.
Sense. Got it.
Okay, so
you went there to cover until they got there,
thinking they would just jump in and cover too, right?
Yeah.
And they said no, I don't want to.
They just said no.
We're standing there. Me, the new hire, 2 other employees. That person comes in, still has all their stuff in their hands. Fair. I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to like wink, like, hey, they came in, blah, blah, blah. And I thought sure.
Here's your appointment.
I thought for sure they would just go, okay, and just kind of let me have it later or something, right? And they just straight up said, I'm like, can you go ahead and just finish the orientation? I haven't done this, and that. And they're like, no, I don't want to. Not right now. I haven't just got here. No. Can they come back?
I haven't even had my coffee yet.
They're standing right fucking there.
I'm right here.
I was so embarrassed, but you know what? Again, lack of experience, lack of maturity, lack of skills. My embarrassment actually looked more like being like really, really pissed. I was pissed. I was justified. They said no. You can't say no. You can't say no in front of other employees. You can't say no. You can't do. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God.
Your job.
Fuck, dude. So, okay. Here it goes.
It wasn't even your job, or it was your job?
Well, I was kind of the boss, so everything, you know what I mean? Ish. But again, I goofed it. I didn't pay attention to the time of the date. That was the day they came in this time. And I just, it was fucked from Jump Street to some degree.
You were already on your way out, like, here you go, it is. And they were like, nope.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. All right. I started the orientation. I didn't know anything, blah, blah, blah. They said, no, I don't want to. Why don't you finish it? Or something to that effect. It was probably kinder, probably a little as blunt, but a little more professional. Go ahead. No, you can go ahead and finish it.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? And we were standing right in front of the new employee. I was legit like flabbergasted, bro. I handed off to a coworker. First mistake. Hey, can you go ahead and just give them a tour of the place? First mistake. I drove over to my other office and called them back from my car. Second mistake. It rang a few times. I made like 3 phone calls.
While you were driving?
No, I parked.
Oh, okay. Then you're just, yeah. We parked before we made a phone call in California. Of course.
Well, I needed time because I was going to let them have it.
Yeah.
Right. I was pumped.
That's when you figured out exactly what you were going to say. So you had to pull over.
They didn't answer. And I called the main phone. Answer. And I called their phone like 2 or 3 times. Escalated even
like their
more.
Company cell.
Yeah.
And they're just looking at it going, I'm not answering this.
Oh my, he's just going to be blah, blah, blah. And I called the main phone.
Yeah. Now you're looking for other paths to get through.
Oh my God. I'm smiling now because it's all been resolved and anyways. So.
And you were stewing in it.
So the second mistake, I called them from my car phone or called them from my car with my phone. Right. And then I called the main phone. Third mistake. Right? With the raised voice, I told them how they will fix the problem. You will. I expect. My expectation is.
Were you in a position to even talk to that person like that if they were there for 12 years?
Am I their father?
This was the 12-year person?
Am I their father? I'm not their father. I know. In no way am I able to talk to anybody like that. I think that's the whole point of, you know what I mean? That's what. One of us had the title of director and the other one had the title of assistant director.
He's just a boy.
So, I mean, to some degree, I am in a position to provide direction and support. Yes.
But not like that.
That's not direction or support. That's just abuse, bro. That's just fucking yelling at somebody. Because again, I opened with, it showed a lack of skill, experience, and maturity, right? So I let him have it on the phone. You will go finish that blah, 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 and you will not do that. Did, blah, blah, did,
Don't
blah.
you ever.
Oh, and I was mad. And then I got so mad, then I got scared. I'm like, fuck. Can't just be yelling like that. So I called my boss. Oh, my God. Ugh.
Had he already heard it before he heard it from you? Or
no, I got there first.
All right.
They called on the other line. Oh, and she's like,
and then you end up on a 3-way call with him?
No.
Oh, fuck.
No.
I thought he was going to put you on
I got to finish mine.
Okay.
And then they got their phone call. And then
did he act really supportive when he was talking to you the first time?
We had separate phone calls, so I don't know what they talked about in there.
I mean, when he was talking, when you were like, "Hey, man, here's what I just did," he's like, "All right, it'll be fine, no big deal."
No. I told my boss, "Hey, look, here's what happened." Blah 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 blah. I was still coming off the mountain, right? Yeah. And so when the other person called, upset. Yeah. Right. So
did you get yelled at?
I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble for that. A lot. And not just like I got in trouble for that. It's not like, no, it was brought to my attention how fucking serious and not okay that was, like 100%, right? From that, I was directed to interview my full-time staff and ask them about my leadership style, ask them what areas I can improve, and ask them some other kind of just evaluation kind of questions, like 3 or 4 questions.
If you work for a company, they can make you do that.
If you're in a mental health company, your boss is a licensed psychologist and a fucking like this, and she thinks it's going to help, yeah, I guess. I did it. I got good feedback. I got, deep down inside, I was wanting everybody to root for me. You know what I mean? It's wasn't the goal of the feedback to see who likes me or who would be on my team. It wasn't the goal of it, but deep down inside, I wanted we're cool, right? We're cool, right? And I interviewed them. Plus I'm I was their direct, you know what I mean? So I got some good feedback, and so here's the thing. I heard my glitches, right? I heard my glitches and I addressed them. I didn't argue them. I didn't try and minimize them. I didn't make fucking excuses for them. If that's what they said, I just went ahead and ate it. Now, some complaints I took harder or, I put more effort into than others.
Yeah.
Some of them I kind of dismissed a little bit because they're just kind of stupid and I don't like that person.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I'll get right on that, boss.
Right, noted.
Yeah, not going to happen.
No, in all seriousness, I did. Because, I really wanted to do well in that role. I really wanted to, show the boss I could do, all these things. Not necessarily show the boss, but like,
you come from a blue collar world, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I wanted
in a different world. That phone call is a sissy phone call.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So
it could have.
I wanted to do well.
Worse.
So I wanted the feedback. I want the course correction, right? So, I did all those things. I did it, and over time, my coworker forgave me, and they forgave me in a way that felt genuine, and I believed it. The word's called grace.
Yeah,
I was given a lot of grace.
Oh,
I did address it directly with her. I did apologize, and I did make sure that I didn't minimize, make excuses. That'll never happen again. Just and then offered a whole bunch of change fucking behavior for like 6 months, right? So I got a lot of grace for that. I did. I've seen them after neither of us work there anymore. I ran into them at a concert here recently. I was going to the bathroom. They were coming back in or something. They're like, "Hey, hi." I'm like, "Hey," and big hug and everything. You know what I mean? And
yeah, it's all good now. You guys aren't sworn enemies.
I hope so. You know what I mean? It's important to not about like me, but it's like, did I lose your respect? Did I have a shot to earn it back? Can I earn it at least to you know what I mean? It's like it's
humility. You had to show some humility.
Just whatever, right? So that's
one of the hard adult things to do too.
And that it's coupled with, on my side, showing restraint. Yeah. You talked about that before. Some of the adult things you can do is one of the things you can do is show fucking restraint. It's because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right. Climb under the tables at the Chinese restaurant. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Jade Garden.
Are you? Have you seen that? Have you been in a restaurant where you see that going on and it bothers you?
What, other kids fucking off like that? Yes, it does. I look at their parents. I'm like, I look at the mom because there's usually not a dad around. I look at the mom. I'm like, good Lord, lady. But then I don't know. I don't know. Whatever goes on in my head is safe and it's fine. I'm good in there. But if it starts to come out, then it's like, because I'll be with the wife or whatever. It'll be like, and I try not to. You know what I mean? It all started back with my buddy years and years ago. Exaggeration for effect, making fun of just for fun, and it was funny and it was good, and there was real talent in the kind of humor of exaggeration for effect. It's like, oh, I've seen you in 36 fucking weeks. I saw you yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like, oh my God, what are you trying to fucking just whatever, and the commute, and it's just, and then so the mechanism of like exaggeration for effect, and like the whole skeleton of that whole joke line, right? I don't know, you know what I mean? But then you pack on like sarcasm, then you pack on like teasing, then you packing on making fun of how people drive, how they eat, or decisions they make. I remember
one time, I think we were on our way home from a scapegoat show. What's up, Lorenzo? And we went to Denny's right there on Orangeburg, Briggsmore, and we were waiting for our food to come. We already placed our order, and the waitress hadn't come around our area for a little while, and you were like, we're never going to get our food.
I remember that.
And she walked up right behind you just as you said that.
I was hella drunk that night.
Yeah, and I don't think we got our food for another 20 minutes.
We're never going to get our food. And I would say that. I used to say that as soon as we get done ordering, we're never going to get our food. Before she'd even walk away. We would be the only ones in the fucking restaurant.
Yeah, now it's become a thing. You're not even allowed to say
I forgot about that. I did. I threw my head back over the booth. We're never going to get our food. Hell allowed.
With super exaggerated for effect. Super.
Oh,
exaggerated.
My goodness. See, that's what
she did not think it was funny.
No filter, no boundaries.
Like
not
2
funny.
in the morning. She's working by herself in a Denny's.
And these drunk fucking assholes coming in.
Yeah, and drunk assholes.
Good Lord. So I told you that during this whole fiasco about yelling at my coworker that I had to go interview my full-time staff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So some of that feedback, the most consistent feedback, right, was I was in a hurry to the next thing. I was always on my way to do something else. I never would stop enough to like gather. I would just never stop. I would just in, out, doing whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I was always passing through. I was never there.
It's a being in the moment thing. It's a thing that people only do when they're at the beach and you go, it's nice. Yeah, you got to do that way more often.
You got to sit down.
Yeah, you can do that in your chair at work and go, it's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice. I believe I work here.
Pretty nice.
So my glitch of being in a hurry to get to the next thing, always on the go, not sitting down every now and then. I will keep myself busy with something, usually sitting at my computer, but I have forced myself now recently at home. I have forced myself to stop what I'm doing and engage with the kids when they ask for it. To not tell them later. There's nothing I'm doing at home.
Yes, man.
That's more important than what they need. I'm not doing work from work.
Yeah.
So it's not, my income's not affected.
Say yes more often.
So that's basically one of the things. Like, so whatever I'm,
I've been trying to do that too.
Caught up doing. Yeah. Hey, can you get me a cup of water? You can't get your own cup of water. I can't reach. There's going to be one day she's not going to ask me for a cup of fucking water, bro.
All right.
I'll get up and get her a cup of water. I'll hand her the cup. I don't give a shit. She can climb. She can do it. She does all the time. So I'm not enabling inability or whatever.
But sometimes she just wants daddy to do it.
Sometimes she just wants daddy to do it. She'll come over and sit on the back, climb up on my shoulders, and climb up on my shoulders while I'm at the computer, right? Plonk. Right. And then she'll like grab my head and like try and steer, like she's steering me. Like, I'm like, all right, I'll take off my glass, get up, and we'll go out in the backyard. We'll do dance moves. We'll go do gymnastics. We'll trampoline or whatever. But yeah, about 15, 20 minutes, and then she's done with me. All right, she'll go back on the couch, go back, do whatever she's doing.
You know what cycle. I mean?
Yeah, and I'll go back to do what I'm doing. So I've made sure to make myself say yes to all of that, because I keep telling I try and tell myself as I get up, there's going to be a day. There's going to be a day. She's not going to want to do this. She's not going to come and just climb on my fucking shoulders. You know what I mean? Like 17. I'll be like 65.
Yeah, we have a hard time keeping track of those moments. What's the one they say? Like, there was a time when this is the last time you hung out with all your best friends together as a group, and then you never really got to do that again. You didn't even know it was happening. Yeah. Same thing with the kids.
There was a
last
time
times happen, and you're like, dang, I didn't even know that was going to be the last one.
When was the last time your dad or your mom picked you up and put you down for the last time? You never knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd have known that was the last time you were going to pick up your kid.
if someone would give you that perspective on life earlier in life, then maybe it would stick. At least with some people, it would pick up on them and they would do better things. I didn't think about that until I was probably in my 40s. It was probably on a Hallmark commercial or something.
So to address the feedback from work, the not slowing down and all that stuff, when I checked in with folks, I made sure to sit down. We'd go on the front porch. We would go. There was no place to meet. It's two houses, right? So they're homes. They're not offices or anything like that. There's no hallway. There's no, you know what I mean? There's nothing like that to go and hide anywhere. So we'd just go sit on the front porch, and I, obviously not be on my phone or whatever, put my hands in my pocket and sit there and listen to the whole story of whatever would happen, right? And everybody was so different that worked there. So, engaging with everybody was a completely different experience. It was never like, well, they're people and they're different. You know what I mean? But one person giving you a rundown of what happened overnight is going to be vastly different from this person, from that person, what's important to them, blah, blah, blah. But to give each person that time and not just listen, in emergencies, nothing bad, okay, I'm out. But listen to how person A, complained about certain things. And I want to give feedback. I want to say, well, that's not really, that's how we're, blah, blah, blah. But in that moment, it's just to listen. I'm just to hear. Yeah. If there's anything real crucial, I'll set an appointment with her. I'll set a meeting with her to address it. That's the right way. Yeah. You know what I mean? In this moment, unless it's super egregious or super safety, I might, I'll say something, but for the most part, this check-in is just to be heard. I want to, check in with my supervisor. I just want to check in with I want to feel heard. I want to get some feedback. I want some exchange. You know what I mean? I want, so a relationship, a reciprocal something, right?
About the anger that we carried around or something, man, like just being angry at shit all the time though. And it was easy you're in work, you spend a lot of time at work. It's hard to be at work all that time and keep that anger under wraps, man, because I don't know, there was something about being an angry kid.
Yeah. I was
an angry young man.
Very task-oriented around people who were people-oriented.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. And then, the anger was... So the anger, to everybody else, it looked like anger, but on the inside, it was only anger like maybe 10 or 15% of the time. Other times it was, I was scared, or I was not just mad or angry, but I didn't know how else to tell you it was important.
Yeah.
Without yelling it.
Right.
And everything was yelled. So to me, if I was like trying to give you a warning, I was like, hey, don't do that, blah, 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 you fucking die, you fucking blah. It looks just like you pissed me off. You fucking, you know what I mean? It's just, don't swim in the canal because whatever, you know what I mean? And anyways, so I slowed down. I gave people their time. That's when I learned the difference between task-oriented and people-oriented. Some people want to come right in and jump straight to task. Bullet, I'm out. Other folks want a moment, right? And then if I want that skill, if I want that expertise, I want that maturity, I want that tool in my tool belt, then I do better when I understand who I'm working with.
Right.
Right. It's always good to share the moment. It's always good to listen with empathy and respond with dignity. Good Lord. So good word.
It's always good.
It's always good. I mean, it's good to have a quick little phrase as a reminder.
It's the hardest thing.
But it's
good to do.
Right. And then, the next glitch, is, the big one I always talk about, obviously, is my addiction. At 34, I checked into SRC, Stanislaus Recovery Center. Back then, it was a 30-day residential kind of stint, 28 days kind of deal. You know what I mean? The first week I wanted to leave, we had, I think it was hot scrambled eggs. They were hella good.
But you recognize that glitch a bunch of times before you actually successfully unfucked it.
Yeah, but you know what? I remember one specific time standing in the mirror, doing the mirror thing, all skinny and sucked up and shit, no haircut, no face all fucking greasy and shit. I remember sitting there thinking that my arms were so skinny that my shoulders came up because they weren't heavy enough to hold them down. They were stuck up like this, and I was all fucking spun. I didn't fucking know what I was thinking, but yeah. So 34 years old, checked into rehab, got out, got clean, been clean, doing the clean thing. I was a big tweaker. I'll be honest with you. I was a fucking straight tweaker, bro.
Central Valley
tweaker. Central Valley tweaker, man. Tika tweaker. So stayed in the rehab, did the rehab, got out, got clean, did the things. And, so of the glitches, all the way from recognizing that I have a huge drug addiction that I need help on and needed to bring professional help in. It's not something I just did on my own. I didn't do any of these on my own. There was other people that, either I got held accountable at work, because I didn't just reach out and go, I think I could be more in the moment with this person. No, it was brought to my attention because I fucking screamed at somebody and it was like, you're not who you think you are, but go interview your people, right? So, I don't know. Took all that in, all these glitches, all these different reasons, right? And the reason that we, I kind of brought some different ones up because they all kind of came from a different place. Some of them were, like addiction came from a life or death kind of deal. Going back to school was just like I want to invest in something. I want something different. So it was kind of creating a dream or whatever. It wasn't like, I don't want to go back to jail. I don't want to keep fucking doing this. It wasn't out of
like
chaos.
Breaking a cycle.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get ahead. That's a recognizing that the future is something that you can do something about.
And you can.
Yeah, I never had that. I figured I was always in survival mode, bro. Like day to day, week to week. Oh shit, rent's due again. Just surviving.
Right.
I never felt like I was like, what's my 5-year plan?
Right.
I've had jobs where like, well, let's do your 5-year budget. And I always thought that was a dumbass exercise. Now I get it.
Now I get it.
Yeah, now I get it. I was like, let's make up some stuff, I guess. What do you think? I think it's the internet. You think I'm going to know what we're doing 5 years from now? Yeah, I'll make up some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to need 12 computers that year.
Real jukebox and Winamp.
Yeah, like, come on, bro.
Subscriptions.
Yeah, dude. So looking towards the future is definitely an unfucked glitch.
So we mentioned a bunch of our glitches. Now we are going to spend a few moments on the other part and how to unfuck them. Before you can unfuck them, you kind of need to recognize them. So this next little list that we have here is a way to recognize and unfuck your glitches. We talk about this all the time. The first thing on the list of let's talk about how to unfuck them is called self-reflection. It sounds weird. It sounds goofy, but self-reflection happens when you're sitting on the toilet. It happens when you're driving to work in the morning.
You're doing it anyway. It's that little voice
happens when
in your head that's going, you shouldn't be doing that.
It happens when you're in the elevator. It happens when you're mowing the lawn. It happens anytime you're in your own head or your own head is talking to you. That self-reflection happens in that inner voice that talks to yourself, that you talk to yourself with. That's inner reflection. Now, are you talking about sports? Are you talking about food? Are you talking about women? Are you talking about whatever you're talking about? But when you're talking about yourself and you're wondering about yourself and you are going, hey, you know what? My drinking is a problem. Hey, you know what? I think I need to go back to school. Hey, you know what? I don't want to be a forklift driver for another 40 fucking years. Hey, you know what? And you kind of daydream. What if I started a business? Hey, what if I did this? Or, hey, you know what? I haven't talked to my brother in a long time. Or, hey, you know what? And whatever it is, you start imagining yourself. And then you start kind of thinking on your own of like, what would it be like if it were different? What would it be like if I did this? What would it be like if I did that? Is this what I really want? What would happen if? All of those questions, all of that imagination happening is self-reflection. Yeah. You're looking at yourself from like an objective point of view. It's different than a pity party. A pity party, you're feeling some kind of way, you're crying, you're bleeding the wound, which is good. Bleed the wound, clean it, get it all out so it'll heal, right? And gets better, right? I get that. Self-reflection is more of like an objective way to look at yourself and kind of ponder some what ifs.
It's like that evaluation that you get at work. You should do that to yourself and make your own categories for things.
So you can do self-reflection through journaling, meditation. You can identify patterns of behavior or thinkings that are counterproductive. Patterns of behavior are a big one.
Yeah.
So that addiction, patterns of behavior, that's an easy one. You'll see those patterns right there. I'm drinking all the time. I'm smoking all the time. I'm using all the time. I'm not going to work. I'm not going home. I don't have a home.
Yeah.
I don't have a work.
It's like automatically falling into that rut, dude. And I was just talking about that with my kid the other day. It's like everything's just a rut. And once I catch myself in one of those ruts, like all of a sudden, for no reason, I'm in a bad mood. Like for what? I could just choose to not be. And that's that easy.
It can't be that easy.
It requires that much humility to just go, I'm doing this for no reason at all.
So if self-reflection isn't enough to kickstart it, right? The next thing we can do is feedback seeking. Discuss the importance of seeking feedback from trusted friends, trusted family, or colleagues to gain perspective on one's behavior and its impact on others. For example, I mean, this is kind of a weird example, but the one I just gave you about yelling at my coworker, let's say I didn't yell at him. Maybe say I was just a little stern. In fact, there was a time I was a little stern with some guy, and, I caught myself bringing up the thing he just got in trouble for. I was like, well, just last week, I mean, how do we, blah, blah, blah. And my coworker or my colleague or whatever, after the meeting, they were like, we shouldn't rake them over the coals twice. Once it's over with, once the write-up's in place, it should just be left in unless it's, I'm like, I get you. You know what I mean? So I can take some feedback. I can hear that, right? I can, let it over. You know what I mean? Again, lack of maturity,
Yeah,
lack
you want
of
to let
experience,
them
lack
have
of
it, man.
skills.
You can make sure it's never going to happen.
I'm not
again.
his dad.
But sometimes.
Feedback seeking. Again, discuss the importance of seeking feedback from trusted friends, family, or colleagues to gain perspective on one's behavior and its impact on others. So that doesn't look like I'm going to call you and go, hey, can you give me some feedback on it? Do you think where I can improve? And it's like, oh yeah, well, you're kind of an asshole, and you're kind of a. That's not what it's talking about. That's not what it's talking about. It's more like
trick people into being honest with you.
It would look more like, hey, Greg, me and the wife, he just had a big old argument. Here are all the honest fucking details on both sides. Dude, do you think I was a little out of line? Honestly, be honest with me. Do you really think I was out of line? Or, you know what I mean? And your trusted circle will tell you, hey, you know what? To be honest with you, if I were to watch that happen somewhere else, I'd kind of call that guy an asshole, bro. To be honest with you, I really would. And then go into the feedback part of it, right? The feedback isn't going to be, again, tell me where I can improve. You know what I mean? It's you're going to run a scenario by them. You're going to run something by them that's bothering you. That's something that's popped up on radar, something you have recognized, and you're going to reach out to somebody and go, hey, let me run something by you.
I recognize this. Do you recognize it too?
Would you say you saw that? I mean, to be honest, right? And your boys are going to tell you to some degree, hey, look, bro, I got two guys that will tell me right now, you know what? Look, I love you, bro, but in that situation, I'm gonna have to go with the wifey side, or however they tell me.
Right.
I can get that feedback. Right. It'll always be pretty gentle, depending on. I can tell you right now. I'll call my cousin Mikey. I can tell him any fucking story, and then I go, "Am I in the right or in the wrong?" You're in the wrong, bitch. You know why?
Doesn't matter anytime.
You know why? Because you ain't got no manners. You didn't show any respect, and blah blah. I mean, I can tell you. I appreciate having access to people like that in my life. I do.
Yeah.
Because there are times when I don't want to continue the same behavior. I don't want to, and it's not that I need somebody to tell me, but every now and then it's like, hey, I don't know where halfway is. I don't know how much I'm expected to tolerate and when I'm supposed to go, okay, wait, hold on a second. Right? I don't know a lot of times where that line is. It's not like I'm constantly being
careful who you ask though.
Well, yeah. And it's not like I'm always in a position to be, taken advantage of or nothing. But you know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't have a lot of folks or a lot of examples to like kind of understand a lot of shit, and none of us really do, I guess. Nobody has the perfect, parents or the perfect scenario where they've learned everything. Now they're just exercising what they've learned. It's always a learning experience, right? But if something's important to you and you're not sure, ask your friends, ask your people, hey, let me run something by you. I need to fucking know. When I was in rehab, I didn't understand the mental health side of addiction. I understood the drug side of addiction. And in those years, it was really important to me that the people giving me drug and alcohol advice were other addicts as well. There was a counselor there who wasn't an addict. He still had my respect, but at the same time, he was like a substitute teacher that we really liked.
Yeah.
He wasn't the real teacher. And that's just how I felt, right? It wasn't until I got into the mental health side of things that I understand more of the mental health side. And that's how the brain works. That's all the chemicals. That's the physical things that happen during your addiction, what addiction is like on a physiological level. The idea that time is an important ingredient in healing, and along with whatever else, blah, 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 blah. And, the grace and the understanding and, all the other stuff that goes with the brain part of all of that. I didn't understand until I got there. And so over time, I adopted a new idea. I want my drug and alcohol help to come from other drug and alcohol people. I want, if I'm going to tell a tweaker story, if I'm going to be in the moment of my addiction and my drug and alcohol stories, I want it to go to somebody else, and I want to hear from somebody else who's been through it. Not the same story. We all know how it works. It's not the same story, but whatever my ugly is going to be the norm for somebody else, and that person going to be like, fuck dog, I got you. I hear you. Here's what's what, right? And then they'll just talk to me without going, fuck, you did what? You just, and just the whole thing is just normal across the board. So all of the ugly part is normal, and they get to hear the real problem. I want that from my other drug and alcohol folks. You know what I don't want from my drug and alcohol folks is my mental health help.
All right.
I want that from a professional, and that brings us to the next bullet. Professional help. Consulting with professionals such as therapists or life coaches who can provide expert guidance on understanding and resolving deep-seated issues. Okay. Getting a shrink, getting a psychologist, seeing a licensed marriage and family therapist, a marriage and family therapist, licensed clinical social workers, all these folks who provide these kind of counseling, all these folks that are either our insurance will pay for or that we can go hire out of pocket. Those are the titles of the folks that generally help us. What does that mean? Go seek professional help for what? What do I need professional help for? Anything you don't know how to learn on your own when it comes to behavior, emotions, feelings, regulation, dysregulation, too much or too little. It's not about being broken or being, retarded or being whatever. It's about, I'll give you a real good example. I grew up in a household where my mother said everything at the top of her lungs. It was all important. She needed to be heard. I learned to say everything at the top of my lungs. My father was super direct. He even said, I'm not pulling any punches with you. I'm going to be direct. You deserve to be, to be honest with you, blah, blah, blah. You're fucking up. You're this, that, and that. I grew up to be really loud and super fucking direct, right?
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds. Yeah. Okay. So that would get triggered by certain things. So I wasn't always loud and direct. It was only during certain times. And the first time I sought professional help outside of rehab, I talk about rehab all the time. That's professional help. Let it be called what it is. Was understanding anger, understanding my triggers. I signed up for.
Hear that word a lot, huh? Triggers.
I signed up for anger management through Kaiser, not because I was beating people up or DV or anything like that. It wasn't court ordered. But I checked it out because I needed to get a handle on my yelling and screaming and it was an upbringing. It was like, so I didn't understand it. And it's not something you're going to learn in school. And it's not something you're going to go to your primary care doctor and go, hey, I have a cough and this inability to not fucking yell at people. Right? So I had to go where you go to learn these things. And the people that teach these things are therapists. That's where you go to learn that stuff. Them. So I want to try and normalize it to some degree, right? I'm not trying to sell it. I'm trying to normalize it.
That's how you can get some therapy without having to go to a therapist and like lay on their couch and stuff. You can just go to the Kaiser classes and stuff. They got all that kind of stuff.
So that was all group, and they have individual through Kaiser, right? Yeah. And the way Kaiser works, if you're going
usually your benefits include all that stuff with your job.
It does.
Most jobs cover that. Yeah.
Correct. So here's what I learned, right? In the Kaiser anger management, it wasn't about how not to be mad. It wasn't like how to, never get over a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. It doesn't work that way. The first fucking thing we talked about is like, hey, did you know you got like 7 triggers wired into you? I can't remember how many there are, but there are a few. And one of them is loss of control. And another one is not being heard.
Yeah.
Good Lord. So we talked for weeks about all the triggers. We talked for weeks about all that stuff. And what I came to understand is it's not about not getting mad. It's about understanding what makes me mad, so to speak, and being able to navigate it from that point of view. Understanding that not being heard.
Get on the other side of it so you can see it coming.
It's not a personal attack. Yes.
Recognizing it.
Well, you
got to recognize it. Yeah.
Right.
So
you know what I mean? So through professional help, because somebody who's not, vested in me emotionally or personally, or as a friend of mine who wants to just give me good advice, just suck it up, pull yourself together. These people can give you good, solid feedback, good, solid tools, and kind of monitor and answer questions as you go along, like a teacher. If you can think about it as kind of like a teacher to teach you new behaviors, That's where you go to learn that kind of shit, right? I said life coach, and I should have taken that out. Life coach can be misleading. Life coaches are not licensed. They're not certified. They're not regulated by any governing body whatsoever. This computer can call itself a life coach and start providing you service. So careful what you ask for. And if you see life coach, ask deeper questions. Are you licensed therapist? Are you blah, blah, blah. If they just say no, then they're as good as your buddy with good advice. You don't have to pay them, even if they try and charge you. What I'm saying is, I'm not trying to dig on somebody else's business, but if you're serious about getting yourself help, and there's a lot of taboo, there's a lot of stigma around this. And if you're going to bring yourself to actually reach out and ask for professional help, avoid people who have life coach in their title and go for the LMFT, the MFTs, the LCSWs, and all those other folks. All right. So anyways,
those cool initials after their
if they have word salad, look it up. They're kind of neat, right? So anyways, educate yourself. Suggest we can get resources for learning about psychological concepts and self-help techniques. This could include books, workshops, online courses that focus on personal development. Educate yourself around your glitch. Whatever glitch you discovered, there's a book on it. There's a YouTube video on it, and there's 100 people who have already overcome it and have made a video talking about it.
Yeah, they'll tell you exactly how to do it. You just might not be what you want to hear. They might say stuff that you don't like. You gotta be okay with that. That's where the humility comes in again. You got to be able to hear shit about yourself that you don't like, and then just go, yeah, I know.
And be okay with that.
That's wrong. I'm wrong.
And not lash out. Your face will get hot. Your stomach gets all butterfly.
And most people can't just say they're wrong.
I'm wrong a lot.
It's the hardest thing for some people.
I'm wrong a lot. I goof a lot of shit.
The only way to learn stuff is to be wrong. Be right all the time. Boring. That would be boring.
Ain't no rest home. This next one is probably one of the most difficult. Mindfulness and awareness. Mindfulness techniques that can help individuals become more aware of their moment-to-moment thoughts and feelings, allowing them to catch glitches as they occur.
Sounds very hippy-dippy.
It's just, okay, so this kind of goes back to
mindfulness.
The anger management, understanding that one of my triggers, all of our triggers are not being heard and losing or loss of control or not having control. The best example I have is somebody cutting in front of me on the freeway. I lost control of the gap in front of me. They took it without my permission. I wanted it. They took it. That's why I get pissed over that shit, because I don't have any control over that person now. Or I never did. And they did something.
I follow that guy to his job.
Can't do that
Done
shit,
it, bro. When I was in my 20s, I would follow a guy to his job.
Oh, no.
You're not going to be that guy.
I'm not that tough, bro.
If you get too disrespectful, I mean, there's a road bullshit that goes on out there, but some guys take it too far. You're not going to troll me on the road. I will follow you to your job. This ain't the internet. This ain't the telephone. You didn't get to do what you want. This is real life out here, bud. I'll follow you to a gas station. Remember that guy? I hope he's listening. Remember that? Remember when you wouldn't get out of your car? You started dialing 911? Yeah, I thought it was justified. I thought it was cool.
So if you know your triggers, it's easier to be more mindful when you are around them and they actually get flipped. Bink, somebody cut me off. It's lost. Fuck, you know what? I'm going to give you that gap. I'm just going to move over here right now. I just move over. I'll just middle lane it. For a minute. I'll let you have it.
Any of that anymore. I watch it all happen around me now. I'm like, I used to be one of those guys.
I used to be that guy.
Yeah.
And let it go now.
So I try not to get mad at them and be very judgeful. It's another one of my things I'm trying not to do anymore. Because I go, yeah, dude, they're just doing the shit you used to do, bud.
The last one for this list, I think, is difficult. It's very rewarding. And once you can really grab a hold of it, I think, like Greg was just saying, saying I'm wrong, that whole flavor of that holding yourself in a position of like indifference or growth or wrong or just, other than like, oh, I'm, perfect or whatever, right? Accountability.
Who wants to do that? That doesn't sound like any fun either.
You got chat open?
Yes.
Give us a good definition of accountability. What does Chiznat have to say about accountability?
Accountability is the acceptance of responsibility for your actions, decisions, and their outcomes, coupled with the willingness to be answerable to others for them.
Or
especially
yourself.
when your boss makes you go be answerable to others. You go talk to everyone in this office and have them tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, really?
Really?
Can I just quit? Did you consider quitting?
No. I just
Quit
did
it.
I ain't no resto.
Ate that shit?
I ain't no quitter. Dude, I fell down.
That's
I had to get back up.
very adultish of you.
Dude, I fell down. I had to get back up. I can't quit.
A lot of guys wouldn't do that. I need you to walk around this entire roof and ask all these guys why you're wrong. No one would ever do that in that world. Roofing. Imagine. Imagine your boss telling you to do that at lunch during your roofing job.
All them long-haired hippie door slammers.
That ain't happening.
Finally, accountability. Probably one of the most powerful concepts for growth. Self, the idea that I'm going to change any fucking thing. If you don't have the ability to see yourself, hold yourself responsible to a higher standard, to a different standard, to a change, and to be able to hear it from others, because again, we're never the bad guy in our own story, and if we are, it's usually minimal, you know. And it's rare when we hold ourselves accountable, but when we do, the work is tremendous, and the results are permanent. It seems like, you know what I mean? Once I kind of, well, it's not permanent, but I mean, it digs deeper, it holds stronger. If I do it for myself versus I'm doing it for somebody else, fuck them. Yeah, right. It lasts longer. So, anywho, Gen X, are we adults yet? When we can recognize and unfuck your glitches will be the most adult thing Gen X can ever do.
When we start calling it identify and address areas for improvement. Then we'll be fully adult because we're still into shitty humor and saying rude things.
And potty jokes. Because farts are still funny.
Identify and address.
Identify and address. Identify and address yourself. Yelled no one ever. That's going to do it for us tonight, folks. Again, thank you to all of our subscribers. Thank you to all of our listeners out there. We do have a ton of audio over there on podbean.com. Links are in the description. We do have some merch for sale. Links in the description. And we do have a whole lot of love for each and every one of you. So thank you guys for tuning in. And if you guys are watching the end of this video, leave us a comment. Let us know you watched the end of the video, man. You know, if I can get a hold of you in real life, I'll send you a t-shirt. My name is Jason.
And I'm Greg.
Peace out, everybody.
Late.
Late. Lorenzo. Said it 3 times.
He's out there, bro.